Hi there, this is Christian Dye and Mike Stewart. It is August the 12th, and thank you for joining us. We are talking about real estate in the hot areas in the Vancouver market. We ask that everybody on the call please mute yourself. And if you do have a question, to just post it in the chat near the end, and I will field the question and ask it on your behalf. So please keep yourself on mute and ask your questions in the chat. So let's get right into it over here. First, I'd like to say gratitude for all the frontline workers, but let's be sure to stay safe and follow the rules. A quick disclaimer, the information given today is not to promote the buying or not buying of any real estate. We advise you to do your own research. We are only showing you samples for educational purposes. So I wanted to get us started over here by talking about what is going on in Vancouver real estate from a statistical point of view. There's a report shared to me by Mike Stewart, and he is happy to share the full report with anyone who is interested, and I will provide his email at the end. But here are some numbers that we are looking at. If we take a look closely at June compared to July, what we're going to notice is that the median sales have gone up pretty much consistently across the Lower Mainland. I've just highlighted Coquitlam, Richmond, and Vancouver East as an example. We noticed that the median for detached homes went from 1.2 to 3 million as a median selling price. For attached homes, 828,000 up to 859. So this is just an example. The ones that I've circled show that there is a consistent increase across the board, across the Lower Mainland. Now, if we dip down a little bit further to July of 2019 compared to 2020, it's the same thing. There was 1.1 compared to 1.3, where it is today as the median selling price. Out in Richmond, 1.4 compared to 1.59. And in Vancouver East, we have 1.355 compared to 1.6. So what I think that is happening over here is we see this trend is now being pushed up. If we take a look at the next graph over here, we take a look at there really was a peak in average sales prices a few years ago, sort of that 2017, 2018. It dipped lower 2018, 2019, and then now we are climbing our way back up. So the full report also gives other current data. So to share a little bit of it now, there's been a 22.3% increase in sales in July as compared to June of 2020, and compared to July of 2019, and a 28% increase in sales compared to last month of earlier in the summer of June of 2020. So now we're noticing that sales themselves are pushing themselves up. Low interest rates, limited overall supply are pretty much the growing concerns right now. If we were to look at more statistics, attached and apartment properties have gone up. It says here that since July of 2020, there's been a 28.9% increase, and there has been since July of 2019. So year over year, there's almost a 30% increase. Just from June of 2020 until now, there's been a 2.8% increase. So these statistics, like I said, it just shows that the trends are pushing their way up. If you want the full release of the real estate board, Mike Stewart said that he would be happy to share with you if you were to email him at the end for the full and complete report. So Mike, are you there?
I'm here, yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So Mike, just like last month, I want to ask you some of those basic questions. What is the activity that you are seeing? Because you are essentially on the front lines of real estate, you and your team here in Vancouver. What's happening with buyers and sellers right now?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of pent-up demand coming to the fore. Basically, the January, late 2019, early 2020, before COVID-19, the market was very active. Volumes were up significantly. And then basically the COVID-19 crisis hit, and you had interest rates go down dramatically. And all that demand that usually would be sated and supplied over the spring months, which typically is the peak time for the real estate market here in Vancouver, was basically put on hold, put on ice, but you had super low interest rates. Now, sort of an interesting thing that I've noticed is that the people that I speak to, and my job as a realtor is to speak to people who are qualified to buy or sell real estate. So basically those people with the means to buy real estate are people who have, in the Vancouver area, people who are professionals, small business owners, healthcare professionals, those kind of people. All those people kept on working through the COVID-19 crisis, whereas very, very few of them were laid off or lost their jobs or had their businesses collapse. So the interesting thing that I've noticed during this is during COVID-19, you saw a lot of people continue to work, save money, want to buy real estate, and now these people are coming out to buy, and you're really seeing that in the stats. You're seeing significant increases in sales volume compared to 2019, and 2019 actually was a very good year and had significantly higher sales volumes than 2018. So things are very positive right now. Prices are stable to rising, depending on the area and depending on the type of property, but sales volumes and sales activity is up dramatically. And for myself and for the people that I work with, we're extremely busy right now, and we've got a lot of things going on. You're also seeing, which is interesting, a lot of pre-sale projects coming back to market, which January, February, March, when in my discussions with marketing companies and with developers, they were all putting things on hold, putting things on ice. But now we're starting to see things come back, and we're starting to see a lot of new pre-sale projects launching in a lot of areas that are really good from an investment perspective and also from an owner-occupier perspective. And we can talk more in detail about that later.
Yeah. Let me ask a couple of the million-dollar questions that a lot of people are thinking about right now. If they were to put in an offer, what type of offer are we looking at? Are we looking, we got to go in at asking? Is a 10% discount out of the question, or do I got to go over asking in this environment? What are you seeing?
It really depends on the situation, depends on the property. For certain micro markets, you're going to be competing for very high quality properties. Single family houses in East Vancouver is a market that's extremely hot, and you're seeing multiple offer situations for properties that appeal to both owner occupiers and developers and people who want to build new homes. Now, 10% discounts, I don't think you're going to be getting that in this market. But one thing to note is there is a difference between actual market value of a property and list price. So you may have a property that's dramatically overpriced, and you might get it 10% below what the asking price is, but that might actually be what actual market value is and what the property is actually worth. But right now, you can negotiate on some properties, but certain properties, particularly high quality properties in neighborhoods that are in demand, not a lot of negotiation room, and in some cases multiple offer situations with selling prices above the asking price.
Can you give me some examples over there of where you're seeing that there's multiple offers going in, like especially in the condo market? You talked a little bit about the detached, but let's say in the condo market over here, do you find that inside Vancouver, downtown Vancouver, or is it more of the suburbs that you're seeing that there's this, quite a bit of competition for right now?
What I'm finding is that both West Side and East Side, downtown included, in the city of Vancouver, for high quality properties that are priced well, it's not uncommon to see a multiple offer situation. And if you're looking for that kind of property, the key is to be watching the market so that you see when new listings come up, but also to be set up on a research tool like Private Client Services or something like that, so you can actually see what the sale prices are when they sell. So, for properties that you may not specifically be interested in, but could be related to what you're interested in, it's good to keep track of what they're selling for and how the sale price relates to the asking price, to keep track of what the market is doing. And we've got this private client services tool that we can offer access to everybody on this webinar. And feel free to reach out to me after the podcast, and I can definitely set you up with that, so you can monitor the market for what you're looking for, and we can set that up for basically the entire Lower Mainland.
Perfect. So moving the conversation forward, Vancouver, Lower Mainland, what are some of the, I guess let's start with Vancouver. What is a hot area in Vancouver right now where you think, either whether you're an investor or you're a principal homeowner, that you think has got a lot of potential or is currently undervalued?
Yeah, that would be two places. First and foremost, Mount Pleasant. The reason why I love Mount Pleasant is because you're getting a new SkyTrain line going in, new SkyTrain station going in at Main and Broadway. And then that segues into the next place that I like, which is the Broadway corridor, because basically TransLink is going to be running a SkyTrain down Broadway from Main and Broadway, eventually out to UBC, but right now out to Arbutus. Now, the line out to UBC is backed by some fairly influential groups, First Nations groups, developers, and UBC. So there's a very good chance it could go to UBC. So you're going to see the Broadway corridor develop as basically another downtown or an extension of downtown Vancouver with high densities. City Council has been sort of poo-pooing and sort of trying to tap down interest and demand in that corridor from developers and whatnot. But I think personally that there's a great opportunity for smaller investors to do well by buying either older, buying units in older, simpler buildings, so that you can do well from a developer buying out the building so they can knock it down and then put up a taller tower, or owner occupier stuff, or invest, or going for an investment property that you keep for the long term. Like, for example, there's a new pre-sale coming up called Habitat. I'm just actually going to be meeting the sales manager for lunch after this. And with that project, you're looking at, one bedroom starting in the 5s, possibly the 6s. And, that's a pre-sale where it's going to be completing in a few years. Sales begin probably in the next few weeks. We've got good access there if anybody's interested. And we've also got a pre-sale email list that if you guys are interested, just reach out to me after this and we can add you to that list and get you access to that. So, there's a lot of good options in the Mount Pleasant Broadway corridor area for both investors, owner occupiers, and both types of investors who are looking for capital appreciation, and also investors who are looking for, steady, reliable rental income, which I think has a very good potential to increase as the area develops and you start to see that SkyTrain development go in along there.
Wonderful. Okay, let's go to the Lower Mainland now. What one or two areas do you like in the Lower Mainland where you feel that might be value or undervalued right now?
I like Coquitlam a lot. We just sent out an email today on a project called Loma in Coquitlam with options starting at $299, and that's a pre-sale. Coquitlam is great because you've got a lot of development going in there. You've got SkyTrain going in there. You've got SkyTrain extending in that area, and a lot of employment out there. So really, really good option with quick access to downtown and other parts of the city. I also like Richmond. Richmond is a great option for investors, owner occupiers, because we're starting, because a lot of that mainland Chinese money has been pulling out of Vancouver, you're able to get very high quality new condo developments or pre-sales for quite good prices. And, and you've got a SkyTrain line, so you can get into Vancouver and get into downtown quickly and easily. And yeah, I'm a big fan of Richmond, and I see very good value for money out there.
Wonderful. Okay, the next layer outside of Lower Mainland, but still inside of BC. Any comments?
Yeah, I like Squamish a lot. You're seeing the Squamish market being very active, and I would argue that that's related to the whole COVID-19 thing, whereby people who are established in their careers but live in the city are moving out into places like Squamish, Nanaimo, Victoria, other places where they can have the same quality of life or a better quality of life than they have in Vancouver, but a less expensive, but with far less expensive housing options, far closer to the lifestyle things that they might appreciate, like mountain biking, sailing, hiking, snowboarding, skiing, whatever. So yeah, we're seeing those markets being very active: Victoria, Squamish, Nanaimo, and the Okanagan. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of people doing that, where now that more senior people or more mainstream minded people or more business organizations feel more comfortable with remote work, more and more people are taking advantage of that remote work and moving out to these places. And you're seeing these markets really doing quite well. So, it provides an opportunity for owner occupiers who want to make the move, but also for investors who want to take advantage of some of the trends and whatnot that we're seeing with the whole COVID-19 situation.
Yeah, I'd have to reiterate that. It's interesting because if you were to take any 3-month time frame in 2019, 2018, uh, my clients I've never had so many clients come to me to tell me that they were buying real estate in during this COVID-19 period. But it was exactly what you said. It's people that did not lose their jobs. It was people that sort of had money, but they were kind of sitting on the sidelines, and now they got off the sidelines because they thought it was a good time because the economy was depressed or whatnot. So I've had several clients buy in those exact areas you've talked about. One in Nanaimo, several in the Lower Mainland, a couple on near Broadway, one in Richmond, one in Coquitlam. So right now, from my personal practice, I am seeing the same thing. There is more activity. People are buying. And right now, I sort of invite people, if they did have a question, to throw it in the chat while I keep moving over here. But did you have any other comments over here?
Yeah, just one thing I wanted to say is if you guys have questions, we're not able to answer them here or address them here, you can call me at 604-763-3136 or email me at mike@mikestewart.ca. And Christian's going to have this on the final slides, and feel free to reach out with any questions you have. I'm always available and always like to hear from all of you guys.
Yeah, a lot of people who have signed up for this webinar aren't on the live one, so they'll be receiving the recording. So absolutely, even though after this webinar has finished during the week, if you did have a question, we do encourage that you reach out. But one thing I've always said, sort of as a conclusion over here, is to not try to time the market, because you're not buying the whole market. Whether the market's up or down, you're only buying one product for yourself or your investment. Finding the right product and working with the right people is going to be way more of a determining factor as compared to what's going on in the market. Predictions of the market of where it's going to go, Mike. What do you think? What do you see for the rest of 2020 here?
Well, Christian, my crystal ball is as good as yours. But quite frankly, if we continue to see this acceleration in sales volume, I think price rises are not far behind. What dictates price increases is the sales ratio. So that is the amount of sales as a percentage of listings. And if it gets above, I think it's 12% or 20% in any given month. So you get, I think, 12% of sales for the amount of the listings that are available. If it gets above that for an extended period of time, you start to see prices rising, and I think we're there and we're hitting that. And with ultra low rates and with the signals from the federal government and the Bank of Canada saying that they're going to keep financial situation, the interest rate situation accommodative, which means they're going to keep interest rates low. I personally think that you're going to see some increases in price, and I think that provincial governments, federal governments, irrespective of what they're saying about housing affordability, are going to let housing prices rise, because housing transactions and house and property sales are so stimulative to the economy that they like it, because it basically helps to reflate the economy quickly. It gets people back to work. It creates tax revenues, all things that I think are needed at this time in the economy with what's happening with COVID-19.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what I think over here is, for those of you who are serious about researching real estate, perhaps because you're planning on buying this year, I do encourage you to reach out. I actually have the report in front of me that Mike has given me that he's willing to share. It is a bit of a lengthier report, but it's full of just great statistics, great summaries of what's going on. So what am I personally doing with clients right now as a financial advisor is I'm reviewing their strategy to ensure that they are taking advantage of any opportunities, whether they be in the stock market or the real estate market, but in a very, very safe way. So some of the analytical things that I do with my clients is take a look at their investment portfolio when it comes to real estate to see if it makes sense to go from one property to two properties, or to perhaps to go from two properties to three properties. Not a lot of financial advisors encourage real estate or have a lot of experience with real estate. So if you're in that category over here of looking for someone to look at your investments, then I don't charge anything for an initial phone call. I don't charge anything for a meeting. What I do is I help to see what your situation is and if I could add any value to it. So a couple questions that have popped up over here, Mike. One of them is, do you guys work in Squamish for investment purposes? Mike, that would be you.
Absolutely. I've got a colleague that I work very closely with up there in Squamish, and she is very, very closely tapped into what's happening with the market for both owner occupiers, but also with investments. And she can help with pre-sales. She can help with existing properties, and she's extremely good. So, reach out to me, after this podcast, and I can definitely make an introduction, and she can help you. She's fantastic. And just one last thing I wanted to say is, if we've got a pre-sale email list that we can add all of you guys to if you're interested, for various regions across the great, so Victoria, Squamish, Nanaimo, the Lower Mainland, the Fraser Valley. So we can send you guys pre-sales before anybody else. And we also have a research tool called PCS, which is great for monitoring the market, and it shows you sale prices. So I can add you to that as well. And any other questions you guys have, I'm here to answer them.
Perfect. And I think one of the things that last thing I want to highlight was the importance of an advisor, a financial advisor, a real estate advisor. Statistics always shows that trying to do it on your own compared to trying to do it with an advisor in terms of increasing wealth, statistically, you're better off with an advisor. My slide over here shows the time frame and how much more of a multiple of your investments grow when you are using an advisor. And this isn't just on the investment, it really is on the advice side, because the amount of advice that they're giving you is what's going to be most attractive. Okay, so I've got another question over here, Mike. With low interest rates currently and majority of pre-sale projects are coming back to market, actual possession is still going to be at least a few years out with the risk of interest rates going up. Can we expect increase in pre-sale agreement? Can we expect increase in pre-sale agreement or contract sale in the short term?
You know what? That's an interesting question. It really depends. Right now, what I'm finding is people who are buying pre-sales, well, at least for us, what we do is we always make sure that the people we're working with clearly understand that if they're buying a pre-sale, they have to have 100% certainty that they can go forward with the contract when it completes, i.e. they need to go forward when it completes. So we're, quite frankly, we're just not seeing a huge volume of, there's not a lot of pre-sales right now because of COVID-19. A lot of projects got put on hold, and a lot of developers don't like to allow assignments, so we're not seeing a ton of those, quite frankly. Yeah, we're just not seeing a lot of assignments, and we're just not seeing a lot of new pre-sales. There are some in specific areas, which is good, but there's not as many as there has been in past. You may see more come as the developers get more confident with COVID-19. I hope I answered that question correctly. If I haven't, feel free to reach out to me after and clarify the question and let me know if I can answer that question more effectively.
Yeah, I think I want to be respectful of everyone's time and start to wrap up. So a couple of things that I'd like to comment on. Mike and I want to give everyone an up-to-date market update on a monthly basis. The next date we're setting is September the 10th at 1:30. September the 10th at 1:30. You could register at my website, Latitude West Financial, which is where most of you have already registered. But it's a Thursday, and if, of course, you cannot make the live webinar, you will always get the recorded link. So please register for it, and we'll send you the recorded link. For those of you who are wondering what is going on in the stock market, for all of my clients, and I invite guests, the last Sunday of every month, I do a stock market update to see, are there opportunities in the stock market? Where are the trends? That's also on the website at latitude-west.ca/workshops. So There's 2 more workshops coming up, and then I have a couple of other ones that I'm also giving. You could check out the website to see that. And the website has a calendar. All you would do is find the date and then to register on it. So I'm gonna end off with this slide over here if you're ready to connect. For those of you who are interested in connecting with Mike in order to ask a question or in order to get the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver's news release, which is the documentation of all of the statistics of what's going on, reach out to Mike at mikestewart.ca, or maybe shoot him a text, 604-763-3136. If you'd like to connect with myself, to go over your financial situation or to see how real estate might fit into your portfolio, especially if you're an investor, then reach out to myself, assistant at latitude-west.ca. So, Mike, thank you so much for attending. I will see you next month, and you have for everyone, have a great rest of the summer.
Thanks, Christian. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Okay.